Oh, goodness gracious. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Masterful Morning Show, and we are so delighted to have Jennifer Bond with us today. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
This is a special delight for me. Again, I met Jennifer about just almost a year ago now, so I'm super excited to have you on the show. And just for our viewers here, I want to give a quick intro as far as who you are and what you do. And so you have nearly 2 decades of leadership experience in direct sales space, where you've mentored and coached women across the globe to grow their businesses and realize their dreams of, of a non-traditional job. So as a mom, as a young mom, you were looking for a way to stay home with your babies while also honoring your entrepreneurial spirit. That's awesome, and definitely connect with that. So this desire to make unique choices and not live an either or life led to the direct sales space. Over the past 2 decades, she has successfully built strong leaders and organizations in different companies using her unique skills in mentoring, coaching, and training. And you are also a certified Canfield trainer, speaker, and coach in the Success Principles. You are a national director and spokesperson for Park Lane Jewelry, the largest global jewelry brand in direct sales space, where you mentor the top executives in the company, as well as provide strategic vision for the brand. Your passion and sole purpose is influencing, inspiring, and empowering people to live bigger and better bigger life version of their life and overcome limiting beliefs. That is a tremendous amount. And because I do know you personally, and I've had the fortunate experience of being a mutual accountability partner with you, I do know you do so many things that you put your mind to it, you set your eye on that goal, and you get things accomplished. And it was really an honor working with you. And so with all of these things, I understand that you are interested in talking to us today about celebrating the and. Can you go ahead and explain to us what that is?
Yeah, yes, absolutely, Melanie. And that was, a lot of information, but, I will tell you, when I was a young mom, as you read from my intro, and I was wanting to be able to stay home with my babies. I had a unique situation being able to have kids and had to go through a lot of fertility things and stuff like that, like a lot of people do. And it was so important for me to be able to stay home with my babies. But like my intro said, I was looking for a way to be able to stay home with my babies and be able to really honor that goal driven part of my personality. And I really, really wanted to find something in a way, in a vehicle to be able to do that. So for me, that led me to the direct sales space. That led me to direct sales, and that was the perfect fit for me. And so one of the things that I'm really passionate about, though, is really encouraging women, especially, to not feel like they have to get stuck in this either or life. I think a lot of times, and not just women and men, I think a lot of times we start getting stuck in settling in these roles. We think that, well, the only way for me to be a good mom and for me to be a good wife is if I'm staying home and I'm going to put everybody else's needs first. And I really just kind of reject that idea. I think that we can do both. Not that we can do everything, but I think that we can do both. I see a lot of people, settling and thinking, okay, well, I have to be this way or I have to be this way. And I really coach people and mentor people to let them know that I want them, and I believe that they can have a bigger version of their life, if you will. And it can look different than what the traditional life is. It can look completely different. So, that's really one of the things that I'm really passionate about. And I'm really blessed that I'm really lucky that I was able to do that through the career that I've had in the direct sales space.
So, Jennifer, I actually have two questions for you. The first is this and concept. It sounds super exciting, but is there like a limit to it? And with that follow-up question, let's talk about limiting beliefs and the fears that we can have in terms of, can I really do that?
Yeah. Well, I think it comes down to, I think there is a limit to it. I think you can't be everything to everyone and everywhere. But I think it's really important to ask yourself at the end of the day, when you talk about what's your life's purpose, or I like to say what your soul purpose is. when you ask yourself what your soul purpose is it something more than I am going to be, working the grind 9 to 5? Is there something else you want to do that is your burning passion, your burning desire? And what I always ask people when I coach them, I say, well, what is that you want to do? If I could give you a magical piece of paper and give you a blank canvas of what you would like to do, what would that look like? So let's talk about how we can make those things happen in conjunction with one another, how we can do this and we can do that. And I think, I think that when you really, really narrow down what those things that are your soul purpose or are important to you, you can do both.
Jennifer, I really, really, I'm so grateful that you're doing this for women, because this is something that, had I have known you years ago, it would have helped me jump into that space so much earlier. I spent a good portion, probably about 20 years of my life, just solely focused in one area. And it led me to a place where I just was absolutely stuck and trapped. And I had to, finally get to that last moment. But if I had had someone to listen to her that spoke up and said, there's the and, then I would have, discovered so much more, so much earlier in my life. So it's so beautiful that you're doing this for people. It's so, so important.
And Melanie, and it's not easy. I coach people on this, I mentor people, but it's not always easy. I mean, I even have a wooden sign that is in my kitchen that is an and sign. And that's for me as a reminder to remind me that I can be different things. I can be different roles. I can, step out of my comfort zone and pursue some of those burning passions that I have, even though they might not look like they fit with my career or with my lifestyle currently.
Yeah, so I was thinking as you're talking, I've seen a lot of, parents, particularly mothers, dedicate themselves to their kids, and then when the kids start to grow up and they find themselves a bit lost in what they're doing because the kids don't need them anymore. And they quite often reflect back on what they could have done and regret that. And it sounds to me like you're quite the pioneer in, doing both. What would you say to people who are thinking about that or want to make that change in their life right now?
Well, first, I would encourage them to think about what those other passions are that they might have, and talk to their partner in their home, their husband, about what that looks like, that you have this desire to be able to pursue something else. Because, Taylor, I think that happens a lot. I think people get very, very lost. And I think women need permission to know that they can be a good mom, they can be a good wife, and they can still be goal driven. I think they can be grateful. I think a lot of women, I will hear them say, but I'm so lucky and it's comfortable and I'm so grateful. And I'm like, you can be grateful and you can also want more. That's okay. You can have both of those things too. So my advice really would be, to think about what is it that really sets your soul on fire, and what is it that, I think a lot of women think, well, my purpose is to be a mother. I think they can do both if they want to do both.
Jennifer, I'm sitting here and I'm just absolutely delighted because I realize that all of us have ands in our lives. Talos does emergency first aid and he is a co-founder of Masterful Manifestors. Melanie is an actor and she is the co-founder of Masterful Manifestors. I also do some executive assistant and productivity mentoring and also this. So we've definitely found the and in our lives. And I think that's just really beautiful to see those different examples of how we are all doing that. And also Melanie and Taylor's our parents too. I guess that also.
Yeah.
So that's very cool.
Yeah. Well, going back to as far as like the limiting beliefs, because I know when I was stuck back in that mindset, it was like, this is what I'm doing. And then, you have that vision or you have that burning desire deep down, but you're like, I can't. How do you help women to break through those? Because they might go, yes, I want to do that, but they have this block, and is there a certain thing that you can help get them to see around it?
Yeah.
Especially if it's taken so long and built up pretty tall.
Yeah, I think it's a process, Melanie. And, I think it comes down to as you well know, there are a lot of success principles that can help them with that. I think a lot of times we are fearful. I think our limiting beliefs are based on fear. So it's based on what we're concerned about, what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, very often what people are going to think about us, what people are going to say about us. People only see me in this particular respect. And so one of the things that I usually recommend to people is, first of all, to remember that, fear is one of those things that it's not a real tangible thing. It's one of those things that it's not a real tangible thing. And I think one of the things that people need to know is that very often we can feel afraid, but we can also be courageous. I'll share a personal example from my own life. A couple of years ago, I have had a very, very successful career in my company and mentoring executives. But I had this burning desire that I wanted to do something that was quite outside of what my day in and day out coaching within the company is. And I had this little girl dream of always wanting to be able to go to Nepal and go trek in the Himalayas. I talked about it a lot. I kept on thinking though, but I can't do it. It'll take too much time. It'll take too much money. It's not who I am. It's not who people see me as. They see me as the fashion and the style, and I'm this person, and this isn't who I'm supposed to be seen as, if you will. And so it took a lot of self-talk for me to be able to realize, and a lot of visualization for me to be able to realize I could be this coach within, a company, and I could also go and be this sort of, trailblazer, go trek, go put on my hiking boots and go do my thing and go unplug. And one of the things that I found is, even though that was such a terrifying experience for me personally, I realized that I had so much internal courage that I had no idea that I had. And on the other side, what it did is it made me, it's almost like, it's like a muscle that you are working out. It made me realize how much more powerful and courageous I am. And it makes you bigger and better for the next goal that you want to pursue.
That's awesome. It just dawned on me that actually in meeting you, the very moment I met you, I was battling one of my own limiting beliefs. And we met at the Canfield event here in Salt Lake City. Yes. And I remember he was going over, we had to share our goals, or I think it was the big, hairy, audacious goal, the big goal that we had.
I remember.
Yeah. And my limiting belief was, no, you don't share that. Like that's through the training that I had done. You don't share it. You want to keep it safe and, until it's ready. And so I remember like almost getting angry. Like, I'm like looking, he was like feet away from us. And I'm like, in my mind, like, really, Jack, really? And it was just this internal conflict that I had. And I was like, do I do it? And I'm like, well, and I'm like, well, you seem pretty nice. So I let go. I'm like, I'm here to learn. I'm here to, just push. So I just made myself push through. And when I did, it was just such an eye-opening experience, because I met you. You are so wonderful. We're still friends today. You helped me through the certification process to become a certified trainer. And then I discovered that there was more. There was an and. So you can kind of keep things safe and secure, but when you share it, you open it up to so much more. And when I shared my me wanting to be and call myself an actress, you're like, I'm an actress. And it was just such a beautiful moment. I was like, oh my goodness. It was just like the universe saying, look, Melanie, you can share. There are people out there, there are resources that can help you. So you had a very profound part of my life, because that day after that moment, like I went on to to the lunch that we had there, and I'm an actress, you know, I went on just declaring that. So
Well, it was
thank you for being.
serendipitous, Melanie. But here's the other thing is you just brought up something is sometimes when you share those things, all of a sudden, all of these other resources or all of these other things come into your vision. So, you know, back to what Taylor was saying about like, how would you recommend, like, just verbalizing and putting it out there like, hey, you know, I want to be able to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I have this dream of being a stay-at-home mom, and maybe I want to start my own blog, or maybe I am, you know, a young wife and I want to start my own small business, or whatever that might be. It's just starting to verbalize that, you saying and sharing that day. And I remember that, and there was a lot of courageous work that everybody in the room had to do, where you had to just, you know, I was like, okay, we're going there, like this, we're going to do this. But everybody doing that courageous work and that workshopy work, it was just saying that. And so like, you had no idea that you were going to be sitting next to somebody who had a former career in the business. And so it's so interesting to me. It's almost as if, you know, the universe immediately gives you these little nods. It gives you these little nudges, these little thumbs up, like, okay, yes, you know, you're on the right path.
Absolutely. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. Can you go ahead and share, is there any way if someone wants to get in touch with you, anything like that, or anything that you're working on?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you can find me on Facebook. The global brand that I am a coach for and a national director and spokesperson for is Park Lane Jewelry. You can find me on Facebook through Jennifer Bond for Park Lane Jewelry. You can also find me through the website, which is parklanejewelry.com. And you can also follow me on Instagram. And I am on Instagram under Jennifer Bond, My Sparkle Life.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. It was a pleasure having you.
Thanks so much, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved chatting with y'all.